you are exceptionally good at what you do. No, really, think about it. If you're an accountant, you can unearth a needle in the haystack tax loophole for a multi-million-dollar corporation without breaking a sweat. If you're a cardiovascular surgeon, you can perform a delicate bilateral carotid endarterectomy under immense pressure. And if you're a sommelier, you can taste a wine and tell me the exact hillside in France that the grapes were grown on, and even the year that they were picked. You've spent years, maybe decades, building that hyper-specific elite level of mastery. But there's a dangerous psychological trap that highly successful professionals fall into when it's time to sell their home. And it's the belief that intelligence and data consumption in one field seamlessly translates into the execution in another. So you prepare to list your home right here in Lake Ariel. You spend weeks scrolling real estate platforms. You analyze the national housing market data because that's what you do. You watch the economic pundits talk about interest rate fluctuations on cable news. You might even talk to Uncle Vern or Aunt Faye, who love to give real estate advice because they passed their licensing exam way back in the 70s. By the time you pick up the phone, you feel completely informed. You feel like you have a total grasp on the market. But here's the cold hard truth. Tracking national data trends, it gives you a wealth of information, but it doesn't give you the insight. It makes you a person with a great internet connection, but not a lot of local market authority. Why? Well, the national headlines, they don't sell local homes. The fundamental flaw with analyzing real estate from a computer screen is the properties, they're not commodities here. They aren't shares of stock traded on a frictionless digital exchange. Real estate is micro-local and deeply nuanced and highly emotional. When a corporate executive or a medical professional looks at a house, that they want to sell, they look at it through a lens of this spreadsheet, this analysis that you're used to. They look at the square footage, the cost of the upgrades that they put in 5 years ago, and the recent sale right down the street. But that's only a fraction of the equation. The math matters. I'm not trying to say that it doesn't, but the math only tells you what has happened. It doesn't tell you what's happening right now. And that's where the gap widens between a seller and a dedicated listing partner. While a seller is managing their own demanding career, I'm out here on the pavement every single day. I live and breathe the local market inventory, and I'm walking these properties, monitoring the subtle shifts in buyer behavior and analyzing inventory before it even hits the public portals. There's an entirely separate layer of data that never makes it into the public report or the national news broadcast. It's the immediate, unfiltered human feedback that occurs inside a home during a private showing. And that feedback, that insider information, that's where the entire game is won or lost. When buyers tour a home, they don't say what they truly think when an owner is present. They won't tell you to your face, that your favorite design choice makes the room feel small, or that a specific layout is causing them to hesitate, or they won't ask how many cats you have, but they tell me because I'm standing right there with them, and I hear the unvarnished raw truth. I listen to the whispers in the hallway, and I watch their body language, as they walk into your primary suite. I hear the exact comments about what they love, about what they would immediately tear out, and why they're not pulling the trigger. The real-time feedback loop is the ultimate leverage, and when a buyer decides to make an incredibly low-vol offer, a spreadsheet will tell you it's just a bad buyer. But my conversations with their agent or with these buyers reveal the true story. I find out, why that low offer came to be. Is it driven by a perceived future repair cost, or misunderstanding of the property boundaries, or simply an attempt to test the waters because the home sat on the market for a few days too long? Even more critical, I find out why a buyer walks away without making an offer at all. Think about how valuable that is. If 3 separate buyers love the kitchen, but express anxiety over a specific fixable element like a lack of privacy in the yard or a dated fixture that's an actionable problem. We can fix that. Time and time again, I've listened to buyer feedback and realized, if a seller only made this one specific minor adjustment, would have an offer on the table already. Without a dedicated professional gathering that intel, the seller is often completely blind. They leave the house sitting on the market, racking up days on the market, which eventually forces a massive price reduction. You can't fix a problem that you don't know exists, and you can't find that problem on a national, real estate website. Every single detail in your home's listing matters. The presentation, the narrative, the exact positioning of the property online, the specific feedback loop from active buyers, all dictate the final outcome. When you hire a veteran real estate professional, you aren't just paying someone to put your property on the website. Like anybody can do that, and they just wait for the phone to ring. And you're hiring someone for their local perspective, their database of active buyer psychology, and their ability to interpret subtle human behavior. You're paying for the execution of a strategy that ensures that your property stands out as the obvious choice in our competitive market here. Just like you wouldn't want a real estate agent trying to navigate a complex corporate audit or step into a surgical suite, you shouldn't try to manage the intricate, high stakes process of a property sale based on your casual observation. True expertise requires daily immersion. It requires knowing the local inventory so deeply that you can anticipate a buyer's objections before they even step through the front door. If you're preparing to sell your home, protect your equity by treating the process with the same professional respect you demand in your given profession. So ignore the sweeping generalizations of the national media, sidestep the outdated advice from well-meaning relatives. Instead, rely on specific local intelligence that can only be built through daily local experience. Let's make your property, make sure it's positioned, to command the highest possible value that the current market will currently allow, and in the shortest time frame possible. Leave the real estate execution to me, and I'll happily leave the corporate tax strategy and open heart surgery to you. If you're thinking about listing your property and you want an honest, data-driven assessment of what buyers are looking for in your market right now, comment and let's talk below, or simply give me a call. I'm Mark Bond with Century 21 Select Group, and I live here.